5, 10, 15, or 20. We did ours for 10 because we want to pay them off in that hole forever. But you could go for 20, and if you sold out in 10, someone else finishes paying for the system. You get full appreciation of being on your roof right now. It's very affordable. It makes it another way other than a bank. And the problem with banks is they'll only go like 7 years on a loan. You have to start paying right away. If you do the Hero loan and you do it after June, it doesn't go on your tax bill until next year. So you kind of get rid of your electrical payment, and then you don't pay until next year. It's on 2 payments too. It's in October and April. So, and you can prepay it, and there's no prepayment penalty. So if you can afford to pay it off early, and you don't have it on your bill anymore. So it's actually a very great way to finance, and if you have a business like I do, it's a great deduction too. And you still get 30% back. I don't do leases, I don't do, because the lease companies basically take your 30%, put it in their pocket, and they sell you the electricity on the roof at a cheaper rate. It's kind of like leasing a car, it's not a really good deal. I want people to own their systems, I want them to pay them off and not owe anybody anything, get free electricity from them. So don't use these guys' pencils, they never pencil out. Traditional model. Everything started way back when we discovered fire down there at the bottom. We started burning everything. That's where it happened. Don't you agree? Yeah.
Discovering fire.
Started burning. So we started burning wood. Wood was good for everything. You know, campfires eventually was what powered any kind of steam engine. So we deforested. So in 1620, that's what the U.S. used to look like way back when. That's how much we got green all the way from the Midwest to the East Coast, but nothing the Northwest. And then 1850, we started going that way, and by the 1920s, that's what was left. And you don't even want to see today, because about all that's left is national parks. Everything else is gone. There's very, very little real wooded areas. We actually created a new species of wolf because of deforestation. It turns out that coyotes from the west couldn't mate with the wolves that were in the Midwest. And by deforesting and opening it all up, the coyotes could get all the way over to the East Coast where they ran into some relatives from a long time ago that they could breed with. And now we have a coyote-wolf mix called a coy wolf. And they're super smart and they live with us. They like living in cities. They're pretty amazing creatures. But it's a new species we created because of this. So moving on, we decided wood was getting kind of scarce. We were burning it all. We realized we need some of it to get oxygen to breathe. So we moved on to plant and animal. That would be whales and like palm and different things for creosote and stuff like that for burning. And then we started in medieval times. In the Bronze Age, we needed something hotter to do steel and bronze. And then we got into the Industrial Age. And so this is, I looked up the Industrial Age, I found this picture that said pre-Industrial Age, and I'm looking at that going, oh, that's pretty nice. The guys taking a nap, they're having a picnic, they're bringing in the harvest. They're working hard. It wasn't easy work, but it was seasonal. You brought in your harvest and you lived in between, and it looks like a pretty nice way to live. And then we get to the Industrial Age, and we have child labor problems and all these things, and people move to cities, and you got urbanization, and things began to change. Here's transportation back then, pre-industrial age. And then locomotives and billowing smoky things and a lot of burning going on. So now we're moving on into, we kind of deforested, ran out of wood. So we moved on to coal because it burned hotter, and then we found fossil fuels. And when we found those, they were on the surface, kind of like water used to be. On the surface, you found wells, they were maybe 50 feet deep. And same with oil. Remember the hillbillies when he shoots and the oil's bubbling out of the ground? That's how it was on the surface. Now we go down to the Gulf and we're 6,000 feet deep under the ocean drilling for oil. What does that say? It says we're out of oil. We're really out of oil, and we're going that deep. And we're fracking, and we're doing all these bad behaviors to get oil out. We're out of oil. Squeezing rocks. That's really a good one. Shale oil. Anyway, So in order to understand solar, you need to understand how we use energy. So this is called the energy duct. Why? Looks like a duck. That's how you use energy. So this is midnight in the morning, 0, and then you go up to this 2300 clock, and you can see how you use it. The tail of the duck is early morning. That's people falling off from the peak the day before. And then the tail of the duck here in 2013, we actually had a bat on the duck. And then it goes up to the head of the duck, and it starts over the next day. So that's how we use energy. Well, in 2013, the duck actually had a back. Now look where it is 2015. The back has now become more of the belly of the duck. And that's because renewables, solar in particular, distributed solar, has hugely caused this issue. So what happened is we kept putting all of our production to the south, picking up energy to the south. We want as much as we can get all day long. Well, what's going to change is we don't need it midday anymore. In fact, when you use your appliances, that's the best time to use it because you got a glut of it, you got tons of it. That's when you want to use your energy, especially if you're on solar. So you get solar, you create an energy sink plan, you start to think about how you use your energy. And then we start to think about where you're going to put your panels. South facing all day long, we don't need that. If we want to balance out a grid that we keep, and we do need a grid to feed commercial and big companies and things that use a lot of energy, we need the existing grid to take our excess away to those places. But we don't need to pay the transmission costs, we need it in our home. So what happens is 7, 8, 9, 10 in the morning, people get up, turn on all their stuff, and then they go to work and go to school. And the belly of the duck is where everybody's gone to work all day long, except for us retired people. And then they come home in the afternoon, they turn on the TV, the computers, everything, the air conditioners, the heating, and bam, they go shoot out there. Well, what the utilities have figured out is they're not long for this world, so they are dropping tiers. We used to have 5 tiers, we went to 4 tiers. Now we're down to 3 tiers. And those tiers force you into the highest rates the fastest so they get more money out of this. And now they have a peak time. 2 to 6, they're going to charge you another nickel if you use energy then. Because they want to collect as much as they can out of this fat cow they got. So what happens is now we need to look at a community, how they use their energy, and maybe put panels on the east and west, not the south. And not get as much production, but we're getting it when we need it. So we're balancing our grid by where we put panels in every community. Does everyone understand that? Does it make sense? So here's how we produce energy today. There's one thing missing. That number 1 up there? Solar farms. Thermal solar farms, those big generation plants. That's what's missing. That's what they want to replace that station with. With solar on a rooftop, all we need is on your home and my home, Walmart, and industrial places, and the commercial consumers like at Walmart. This would be like factories and plants. All we need is this bottom end down to the number 3 distribution station. We don't need the receiving station. We don't need that generation plant. If we're making it on all these rooftops. Picture solar panels on those roofs right there. That's all we need. And then we can take the big power lines that exist already and we can ship that energy to LA or wherever they need it more. And they can pay the transmission costs from us. So we really don't need any of that other stuff. We don't need nuclear plants. We don't need coal burners. If everyone starts producing on their rooftops at home, and the other thing that happens is you become secure. If we have an earthquake or someone runs into a power pole and knocks out the transmission lines, you still have energy at your home on your roof. You're secure. You're secure as a person. Your community's secure in this little circle of life right here. And the country's actually more secure. Because if you go to war, they bomb number 1, number 2, number 3. That's the first thing they hit. Then they hit the water. They destroy all that infrastructure because they want to cripple the nation to win the war. We know that because that's what we've done. Well, if it's on everybody's rooftop, they don't have enough bombs, I guarantee you. And you're secure in that respect too, and in an emergency. And then with the advent of battery backup, you can actually go off grid if you want to and not support the grid and be okay. And everybody's going, well, they're expensive. Well, you buy an electric car in the future, you plug it into the charger, and that is your battery backup for your house. You don't need both. You don't need car batteries and house batteries. You could have a little one for the house to run for a day or something, but your car will be your house batteries. They've already built that system too. It's called a +10 net zero home, and it does it. So we can get rid of that. So here's what they want to build. Does that look inexpensive? That's the systems they want to build, because these are super expensive. And Siemens is one of the biggest in the world. Also owned by the Koch brothers, oil company. So here's one way to go. You can have this. Or even better yet, you can have this. This is geothermal. This is an earth ship. All the cold air blows up over the back of that house, never penetrates the building. You don't need heating. The sunlight comes down in the winter, shines through the atrium window, heats the house for free. This is what we should be building. We're still building this one. This is what the kids are designing in college in those competitions. Still a big box, a little bit of solar. They're very beautiful. They're cool. But a few changes and you can make it totally off-grid almost and not needing any heating or air conditioning systems. The big round thing on the end is actually a water cistern that collects water. There's a big cistern in the earthen part behind, and I'll show you later how they go together. So today's model is farm solar energy. That's what they're moving towards. They still want to use fossil fuel-fired plants and nuclear plants. They're actually talking about the new nuclear plants, which I'm like blown away that because it takes 20 years to bring one online. We could be done with solar in 5 to 10 like Germany. That's how long it's taken them. So today's model, we did that. Traffic lights, street light, night lights, and light pollution. Why do we run all those night lights? Why do we keep all that stuff generating and using energy? I mean, why is the Chevrolet dealer and all those guys lit up like, you know, the moon all night long? And the reason is they don't want to crank back that generation plant and then have to wind it up again the next day. So we keep burning all this excess energy. We need to find ways not to do that. Put them on motion detectors. Only do some lights. Turn off the street lights in the middle of the desert that are lighting up dirt roads that nobody goes on. I mean, it's really crazy. We need to change those models. It creates energy dependence and insecurity for the country, communities, and individuals at the same time. This is Washington, D.C. This is a parking structure. No moving parts. Sucks up the sun all day. No maintenance. You can wash them if you want to. They say to me, it's a no-brainer. It's pretty simple technology. And if it was invested in, like oil exploration is still invested in, if we took that oil exploration money away and gave it to the solar people, we would be there in 5 years, I guarantee you. We'd have some of the best stuff in the world. This is Bright Source. You guys know this one? This is Ivanpah. This is on the way to Las Vegas. Yeah. This is 5 square miles. This is the thermal generation. This is the one that fries anything that flies through it. Because these are mirrors that focus heat to that cooling tower right there. And that in turn runs that big generator and produces energy. The CEO of Bright Source, and the other company, I can't remember the name of it, but he actually came clean and said it's not generating what they thought it would. It's too hard to get the energy where it needs to go. They lose too much in transmission. It's destroying the environment. And the simple matter and kind of the irony of it was there were geoglyphs here, which are the things you see from space that the Native Americans left. And the two they destroyed was Pele and the sun. We don't need this. We can have this. And it can be your whole roof. We don't even need the tile portion. We can start making roofs that are also and get there a lot quicker. And then your roof would never wear out. So what you can do is create an energy set plan for yourself. What you find is once you do solar, you start looking at other ways to save a little energy. You start buying LEDs and, oh, I can do this, I can do that. I can change to electric baseboard heaters instead of a propane stove or a propane heater. You stop burning. So install solar on your home. I say do it on your roof or broad daylight in front of your neighbors. I think it's fine. You will be energy dependent. Once batteries come out or you buy your electric car, you really don't need to be connected to the grid anymore. You can go off grid because your car is your batteries for your house. It will run your house for a week. Just with what's power is in that unit, unless you run your air conditioner 24 hours a day. This is my vacation rental house. That's actually a minus 101.67. That's how much Edison owes me. We overgenerate. I paid him $1.71. That's the grid fee, by the way. That little bottom number, that's what you pay to still maintain. We're still paying to maintain the grid because we're attached to it. Edison wants you to pay $135. They think that we're awful for not buying their dirty energy. They're trying to put through a new bill right now with the Utility Commission to change that so people who do solar get penalized. When the HERO program is there to help you do it, that's a government program. Those are PACE funds that Carter put away when he was in office. And what happened was they put the money there and it was millions of dollars. And then the banks looked at it and go, we don't want to take a second to that, so any of you banks that loan on this, we won't guarantee your loans. This is HUD, Fannie Mae, and Freddie Mac, and all the government loan agencies said, we won't loan those funds and guarantee those funds if you do these loans. So that money sat around for years, and it grew huge. Now it's billions. That's where your 30% rebate comes from. That's where the HERO funds come from. To do any kind of energy efficiency, it isn't just solar. It's doors, windows, insulation, anything that you can prove is energy efficient.